In the year 2075, the temperature had risen about 10 degrees higher than it is today, creating a catastrophic disaster for humanity. Going outside in the middle of the day had become dangerous for anyone. Crops had withered and died because of the severe lack of water, making food extremely scarce. The situation looked hopeless. Those who managed to survive in these harsh conditions had to cover themselves completely with layers of clothing, sunglasses, and anything that could protect their skin from the sun. One of them was a woman named Mary, who was traveling with her younger sister Leonie and their friend Philip. They were driving under scorching heat, with newspapers and cardboard taped over the car windows to block the sunlight, leaving only a small opening to see through. The three of them drove toward the mountains every day, searching abandoned cars and gas stations, hoping to find fuel, water, or food. Life had become so difficult that they avoided using the bathroom to reduce thirst. They also had to be extremely careful. People had turned on each other, fighting and even killing for food and water. One day, they stopped at an old gas station, as usual, to look for supplies. Philip, the leader of the group, was responsible for protecting them. He was trying to siphon gas from underground tanks or abandoned cars nearby, while Mary and Leonie searched inside the buildings for any leftover food or water. After a while, they found a small amount of water still stored in some pipes. While everyone was busy gathering what they could, a masked man appeared and stole food and water from their car. Mary saw him and called out to Philip, who immediately ran after the thief. They chased him but couldn't catch him, and the stolen supplies were gone. Philip was furious, saying, "Do I have to be the only one watching our stuff all the time?" As Mary kept searching for the thief, she realized that her sister Leonie had disappeared. She called her name again and again, but there was no response. Then she turned around and saw the stranger holding Leonie hostage so he could escape. They found out his name was Tom. He politely asked Mary to drop her weapon. She did, but suddenly Philip showed up and attacked him. A fight broke out between the two men. Neither managed to overpower the other, and they stopped, realizing it wasn't worth fighting. Tom then explained that he was a mechanic and knew how to keep cars running in extreme heat. He warned Philip that their car's engine wouldn't survive the long trip to the mountains, and offered to modify it in exchange for a can of food and some water. Philip thought for a while, then agreed. Before they left, Tom insisted on joining them, saying the car could break down at any moment, and they need him to fix it. The girls didn't like the idea, but Philip told them, "2 men are better than 1. They set off through the desert road toward the mountain, but soon ran into a metal structure blocking the path. They struggled to move it, finally managing to push it aside with the car. Afterward, they celebrated and shared a little water. Not long after, they spotted a car that had fallen off the road. Thinking it was just an accident, they went to check it out for supplies, maybe food, water, or fuel. They soon discovered the car belonged to a French couple, and it still contained some canned goods. Philip called Mary over the radio, asking her to come and collect them, but she refused to leave her sister. She told him to come back instead. Sensing danger, Leonie told her sister to go, and that she'd stay behind in the car and lock herself inside. Mary hesitated, but after Philip convinced her, she finally agreed and went to the crashed vehicle. There, she found a bottle of French perfume and tried it out. Suddenly, they heard Leonie screaming in the distance. That's when they realized the blocked road was actually a trap. A gang of cannibals had attacked and kidnapped Leonie. Mary ran to save her, but slipped, hit her head, and passed out. When she woke up, she found herself alone. She then met Tom, who told her the gang had taken Leonie and that they were cannibals. Later, Mary found Philip and begged him to help rescue her sister, but he refused to risk his life, saying it was better to keep heading toward the mountain. While they were arguing, Tom noticed a fire burning in the distance. He told them to check it out. When they got closer, they realized it was the camp of the cannibals, and Leonie was there, tied up with other captives. Tom came up with a plan. He'd create a distraction by setting fire nearby, giving Mary the chance to retrieve their stolen car while he and Philip tried to rescue Leonie. Mary agreed and went to start the car, but one of the cannibals sensed something was wrong and began walking toward her to investigate. At the same time, Tom threw the Molotov cocktail when the fire started spreading through the place. Everyone was terrified and panicking. Mary tried to take advantage of the situation and start the engine, but Philip was too scared of what was happening around him. He started acting against the plan. He ran to the car, got in with Mary, and refused to go back to help Tom. When they drove off, he told her to step on it because he was terrified. Mary was driving fast and kept asking about Tom and her sister. He lied to her, saying he couldn't unlock the chains, so he had to escape without them. During their escape, Philip injured his leg badly. While talking to Mary, he told her to forget about her sister, but she refused, insisting that she would save her. Later, they found a safe place to rest. From the way Philip spoke, Mary realized he hadn't even tried to save her sister. She got angry, left him behind, and went off alone to look for her. After a while, she reached a tunnel and found her sister's bag there, proof that she was close. Suddenly, a shadow appeared in front of her. It was Philip. He apologized to Mary for not following the plan and promised to help her as much as he could. But because of his injured leg, he could barely move. Mary told him she'd go find help and come back for him, and since there was no other choice, he agreed. Mary walked under the scorching sun, searching for any sign of her sister or Tom. The heat was unbearable, so she entered a nearby house to rest and eventually passed out. A woman named Elizabeth found her and woke her up. Naturally, Mary was terrified, but Elizabeth calmed her down and gave her some water. They talked for a bit, and Mary told her what happened, that her sister and Tom were kidnapped by a group of cannibals. Elizabeth said she'd never heard of such a group but felt sorry for her and wanted to help. She told Mary she should first come rest at her farm for a while. Elizabeth spoke so kindly that Mary believed her and went along. On the way, she told Elizabeth about Philip and how he was injured and needed help. When they arrived, Elizabeth mentioned that the heat had destroyed all their crops and that food was barely enough for her family. They relied mostly on a nearby pond for water and fish. Mary was welcomed warmly. Elizabeth showed her around and gave her a room to rest. Exhausted, Mary fell asleep quickly. But when she woke up, she found the door locked. She peeked through a small window and saw a little boy playing with a stick as if it were a sword. Then she noticed something that made her realize she wasn't in a safe place at all. She also saw Philip, injured, being dragged into the same place. The people there looked dangerous. That's when she understood. These were the kidnappers who took her sister. Elizabeth entered the room and told Mary that Philip's body would provide them with a lot of meat, and they'd enjoy it soon. But she added that Mary and her sister wouldn't be eaten just yet, because they were young and beautiful. Instead, she said, they were expected to marry her sons. Mary wanted to attack Elizabeth right then, but she held herself back. Elizabeth handed her a blue dress and told her to wear it for dinner. Before leaving, she warned her what happens to anyone who tries to escape. They'd be killed and eaten by everyone there. Once Elizabeth left, Mary tried to find a way out. Suddenly, the door opened, and it was her sister, Leonie. They hugged tightly, tears filling Mary's eyes. She promised her sister they'd escape. They tied sheets together to climb out the window, but just as they were about to go, there was a knock on the door. Mary told her sister to pretend to be asleep. It was a man named Misha, who came to treat Leonie's wounds. When he got close to the window, Mary hit him, and as he turned, she smashed him over the head with a stick. Furious, he lunged at her and started choking her, but Leonie threw something heavy at his head, knocking him out cold. The sisters then began their escape plan. Mary told Leonie to jump first and hide in the forest, which she did. When it was Mary's turn, she heard someone pounding on the door. Thinking quickly, she decided to stay calm and not blow their cover. She put on the blue dress Elizabeth had given her and went downstairs. Elizabeth greeted her warmly and said she was glad Mary was settling in so quickly. She mentioned that Misha was still tending to Leonie's wounds. Then she led Mary to the kitchen, where the cannibals were having dinner. They said prayers before eating human flesh. To be polite, they even served Mary a plate. Everyone stared at her, waiting for her to take a bite. But she suddenly ran, trying to escape, only to find Nisha, who had regained consciousness, blocking the door. The next thing she knew, Mary was tied up again in a barn, right beside Philip. Misha came in, preparing Philip to be slaughtered. When he left the room, Mary managed to grab a knife from Philip's clothes and cut herself free. She rushed to the barn, opened the door, and found a group of people locked up, including Tom. She freed them all, and chaos erupted. They attacked their captors and killed as many as they could. Tom also fought bravely, saving Mary when one of the cannibals tried to stab her. Mary then ran to find her sister. When she did, she saw Elizabeth holding Leonie, along with one of her sons. Elizabeth looked Mary in the eye and said, "I thought you were different. But now, Leonie will marry my son and start a family." Mary waited for her to come closer, then stabbed her right in the stomach. Elizabeth's son cried over his dead mother, while Mary grabbed her sister and escaped. They met up with Tom again, and together they kept walking toward the mountain. They found droplets of water, the air grew more humid, and birds flew overhead, a sign that there was life nearby. They followed the signs, expecting to see trees, rivers, and waterfalls. But when they got there, all they found was a dry, lifeless desert. And that's how the movie ends. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.